Sarasvati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavata Mesada. Rishi Girsamada in the Rigveda presents an extraordinary metaphor. I will recite it, you will follow it easily. Ambitame, Naditame, Devitame Sarasvati, Aprasasta Ivasmasi, Prasastim Ambanaskrudi. This is the Richa. He is calling a river a Devi. He is calling a river a mother, the best of mothers, best of rivers, and Devitame. Why is he using these metaphors referring to a river? Because she was so important in the lives of the people of the Rigvedic times, because that great river nurtured a civilization on her banks. So we'll be going through the story of a very great civilization, the Hindu civilization, on the banks of this river Sarasvati. And from there it spread all over. Ancient Far East, ancient Near East, right up to Israel, Haifa. So this is the story we are going to narrate in 8 parts. Part 1 is Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean. That is how the entire environmental resources, the whole cosmic phenomena have impact on our lives. We'll go through that background material. Samudra Manthanam. Samudra Manthanam means churning of the ocean. Churning of the ocean is a very beautiful metaphor, where people get together, use a mountain as a churning rod, surround it with the rope of a snake, Vasuki, and then 2 sides hold on to the rope on both sides of the mountain and start churning that mountain. That is Samudra Manthanam, churning of the ocean. This metaphor refers to churning of the ocean results in a lot of products coming out of the churn. The ocean is being churned, out of the ocean emerges a number of new phenomena. Wealth, Amritam, poison, herbs, Dhanvantari, with the pot of herbs and health-giving products, material resources, art and culture. All those emerge out of this Samudra Manthanam. And this is beautifully displayed in an airport pavilion in Bangkok. The Samudra will also refer to the other water bodies, rivers that flow from the mountains that grow, and the mountains that get filled with snow and yield continuous water as glacial waters, as after it melts, which will be life-giving waters. Okay? So this will be the story we will cover, the topic called Samudra Manthanam. Let us go through one by one. The Samudra Manthanam topic will cover 3 topics. How the great river, sacred river, Vedic river Sarasvati was rediscovered. We think it's a mithya. She doesn't exist today. Of course she exists. How it has been found out, we'll go through. Emergence of Sagar Mata, Himalayas. You know, an activity of this kind is not happening anywhere else in the world. A mountain that rises to 24,000 feet high is still growing 1 centimeter every year. It's being pushed up by the Indian plate. We'll go through that story. How the Himalayas are getting formed and they are dynamically active. This dynamic Himalayas is called in Nepal and by Tibetans as Sagar Mata. Sagar is another name for the ocean. Mata means mother, mother of ocean. This Himalayas, how it has emerged, we'll try to understand this phenomenon. It's an extraordinary phenomenon. And the third component of this topic will be the wealth resources of the rivers, mountains and oceans. How the wealth resources are used by people, both in terms of moving from one place to another and in terms of interacting with one another and producing wealth of the nations. Okay. Look at this image of Bangkok airport. Samudra Manthanam. As I mentioned, two groups of people are charting the ocean using the the mountain as a charting stick, on top of which Vishnu as the avatara is dancing. This is the story of a civilization. Samudra Manthanam is the story of a civilization rendered in this cultural metaphor. Just go through all the components of the players in this dynamic activity. This is cherished not in India, in Bangkok, which shows the extent of the cultural sphere of the ancient India was phenomenal. It extended up to Hanoi and Bangkok, Thailand, on the east. And we'll also see how it extended into the west, right up to Haifa in Israel. The airport is called Suvarna Foam, Suvarna Bhumi. Where did this get the metaphor? They got the metaphor from Ellora caves. A similar Samudra Manthanam is depicted there of a churning of the ocean. That's the 5th century. This is the 20th century, 21st century. So a memory that is lasting and continues for a long period of time. We like to understand the importance of Saraswati. We keep on repeating again and again. Sarasvati River basin was the epicenter of this civilization. So far, about 2,600 archaeological sites have been found of the so-called Harappan or Indus civilization. Out of these 2,600 sites, 2,000, almost 80%, are not on the banks of the river Sindhu, but on the banks of the river Sarasvati. Where is this river Sarasvati? Has she disappeared? Is she there? Does she exist? Is she a mithya? We'll figure out. In any case, take a look at the 3 maps drawn from satellite images. One map shows the situation 4000 before Common Era. Second map shows 3700 before Common Era. And the third map shows 2500 before Common Era. The blue dots and the red dots are the settlements of people. Look at the dramatic shifts of settlements that has taken place within Gujarat, Northwest India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Balochistan, Eastern Iran, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh. It's a phenomenal accumulation of groups of people in a social organization. They were really active, endeavoring to create the wealth of a nation over a period of time. This is what these 3 satellite images and the settlement map depicts. Now let's look at the scientific studies that have been made to confirm the existence of this river that is seen by the settlements. So if you just dot the settlements, you have to get the map of the river Saraswati. The central portion of the river Saraswati got abandoned. What was the reason? Inquiries have been made into figuring out why this happened. Existence of the river is so emphatic that in the Rig Veda there are 72 richas which refers to the river Saraswati. When the British East India Company tried to come into India, they brought in a group of soldiers led by a guy called Oldham, and one SCF Oldham became the Surgeon Major in the Indian Army. He also later on became the Director General of the Geological Survey of India. He marched across the Thar Desert in Rajasthan to find a good route from Karachi to Delhi for the troops to march to conquer Delhi. As he surveyed this region, he found a huge channel, dry channel. The channel was about 6 kilometers wide, all along for 1600 kilometers, right from Karachi to Delhi. And in some places there were also some little lakes where some water gathering had taken place. He says, what is this? How can there be an old river channel like this of such great magnitude? He figured out that a river like this is mentioned in the oldest human document called the Rig Veda. So he tried to prove it geologically by this geological survey. So he drew up a map and found that there was a river called River Gaggar, which is today a seasonal river. And that river, he says, was the river course of the river Sarasvati, which has been renamed as River Gaggar. And then he tries to map the entire map of the river flow of the Sarasvati by dotted lines, indicating that these old dry channels indicate that there was a great river that was flowing thousands of years ago. That is, thousands of years ago, which I have to refer to the date of the thousands of years ago rendering of the Rigvedic riches. It's an extraordinary investigation done in 1883 and published in a paper in the Geological Survey of India by C.A. Oldham. So as I mentioned, it's very easy to depict the river. You take a blank map and spot the latitude and longitude of all the archaeological sites. You know archaeological sites like Rakigadi, Kalibangan, Dholavira, Lothal, Ganveriwala, Chanhudaro, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa. You will find the river. About 2000 sites will cluster around along the banks of the river Sarasvati. So a civilization existed on the banks of the river basin. So that river is shown. And the relationship of this river to other rivers of the so-called Sapta-Sindhu region and the west part of Afghanistan and today's Pakistan and the Indian Ocean, Gujarat, are very clearly seen on this map. How to recount this discovery of river Sarasvati, rediscovery of river Sarasvati? We have to go back in time to millions of years. We have a thundering presence, a reality of the Himalayas. Look at this slide on the map. Can you make a guess about the extent of the Himalayas? Himalayan ranges extend from Hanoi in Vietnam to Tehran in Iran, 7,000 kilometers. It goes even beyond Tehran into the Caspian Sea in Europe. And there are a series of folds that have created Himalayan ranges. And this has become a huge water tower for people, 24,000 feet high. All water that falls on it through northern monsoon, above 8,000 feet, it converts into snow and ice. So as glaciers, they are held in snow and ice form on the Himalayas. And they slowly melt, yield great rivers. Each river flowing up to 2,500 kilometers. Perennial rivers. Look at some of the rivers. Yangtze, Huanghe, flowing into China. Mekong, Ma-Ganga, flowing down south to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. Irrawaddy Salween, flowing down into Burma. Brahmaputra, taking a 180-degree turn at Manas and flowing into Bharat. Then on the other side, Sindhu River, River Sarasvati. Then Ganga flows eastwards. Sarasvati flows westwards. Sindhu flows westwards. So these river formations, these 5 great rivers flowing out of the Himalayas, emerging from the Manasarovar glacier as perennial rivers, are the lifeline of the people. It's a great water tower that gives life-giving water to 250 crore people in India and ancient Far East. So when our great poet, national poet Kalyanaraman wrote the poem Kumar Sambhavam refers to the birth of Skanda, Kumara to Shiva and Parvati. Kumara Sambhavam, the very first sloka, it does not talk about Kumara. It does not even talk about Shiva or Parvati. He talks about the Himalayas. I will read out this sloka to you. Astitarsyam disi Himalayo nama nagadi rajaha Purvaparo toyradi vagagya Stita prithivya iva manadanda. A royal mountain named Himalayas lies in the northern direction. Carrying the treasure of water from east to west stands the king like a measuring rod of the earth. What a beautiful metaphor. It's a measuring rod of the earth. It truly measures the earth from Hanoi to Haifa. 8,000 kilometers. How did these Himalayas get formed? It's the youngest mountain range in the world. Aravalli ranges are the oldest. Himalayas are still growing. We don't know when it will stop growing. This is a cosmic dance. Sagar Mata. Look at this slide. Sagar Mata. You have all peaks filled with snow and ice. Storage of water occurs because any water that falls above the height of 8,000 feet converts into snow and ice. Mount Everest is 29,000 feet. It's called Sagar Mata. Karakoram is about the same, 28,251. From a satellite you can see, could be Karakoram looks a little taller than Mount Everest, maybe by a few feet. It's a brilliant metaphor, a mother of oceans. A pun on the word Mata, which is a head. Mata is a mother, the roof of the world. The Chinese call it Zumurangma, roof of the world. Tibetans call it Chomolungma, roof of the world. Summit, the height of the world, which lies to the west of the deepest tension of ocean. 10,497 meters water depth. So that is the depth of the entire earth activity that's taken place before this Himalayas got created. The only metaphor that can explain this formation of the Himalayas is the dance of Shiva, Tandava Nrityam, the cosmic dance. The more than 5,000 kilometer long mountain chain bordering the Indian subcontinent isolates it securely from the rest of Eurasia. Rivers Sindhu and Brahmaputra hold the lofty rampart in their sweeping embrace, calls the great late Professor K.S. Waldia in his book Dynamic Himalaya. This dynamism of the Himalayas results in the migrations of rivers. The river flows to undergo a change. A river called Sutlej, which was joining Sarasvati at Roped, abandoned Sarasvati, took a 90-degree turn and went westwards, migrated because of the plate tectonics that were taking place by the growth of the Himalayas. We have to understand the growth of the Himalayas. A beautiful map has been drawn called Geological map of the Indus catchment in northern Pakistan, showing Karakoram plate, Kohistan plate, Ladakh plate, Himalayan plate, salt range and so on. It's a very beautiful geological map. We must spend a little time on it to understand the variety of rocks, variety of resources, and the volcanic eruptions that have brought in phenomenal wealth resources of extraordinary minerals and gems into this mountain range. It's a treasure by itself. There's a topographic map. You know what the surprise? Even though we are dealing with a height of 24,000 feet of the Himalayas or the Mount Everest, when you come down to the plains at the foothills of the Himalayas, it's an absolute plain. You can walk from Gujarat to Assam without stepping on a piece of rock. Absolute plain, alluvial plain. As the rivers flow, they bring in enormous amount of alluvial sands and enriched soils, make it richer every day. So that's how come millions of people can live on this land, because of the rich soil, alluvial soil. It yields, just sow some seeds, automatically they will grow. And with a little more farming techniques around it, you are able to generate the resources of the wealth of the nation on this alluvial plain. That explains why in Uttar Pradesh you have such a large number of people. 50 crores. 136 crore people in India, Bharat, 50 crores live in Uttar Pradesh along the banks of the river Ganga. Ganga is the river. Ganga is the Mata. Nadi Mata. So the cluster of sites and settlements of people take place along these rivers, which yield life source of water, and more important, the cultural framework of treating the water as very sacred. So Tirtha Sthanas are created. People go there to worship the ancestors and they celebrate the sacredness of that particular spot where water bodies exist. In this episode, with the search for the paleo-channels of Sarasvati. What is a paleo-channel? It's an old channel that was flowing thousands of years ago. How that has been detected by scientific studies is a remarkable piece of work by our scientists. Luckily for us, we have the satellite imagery from the Indian Space Research Organization, which helped us completely locate this river without any iota of doubt. She is not a mithya, she is a reality. We will talk about this Sarasvati River Paleo Channel. There are two maps. The top map is the Landsat color composite mosaic, shows the Accra Paleo Channel as a sinuous dark blue feature. You can see some key archaeological sites like Kalibangan indicated on the river flow, and a number of urban settlements indicated by triangles. The bottom map shows major alluvial landforms in the study region close to Chandigarh, and the major form is Himalayan frontal thrust, where the Indian plate is pushing into the Himalayas and lifting it up. Now, let us look at this cosmic dance. The cosmic dance is a 6,000 kilometer long journey of Bharatam. In 40 to 50 million years, Bharatam that broke away from Africa continent lay below the equator. Look at the map. It started moving northwards, northeastwards slightly. It's a journey of Bharatam in 40 to 50 million years. It's a cosmic dance. Indian subcontinent, the Indian plate, broke away from the African plate. It was laying below the equator and started moving up in a slow, majestic walk at the rate of about 6 centimeters per year. 6 centimeters per year. Then started moving up for millions of years, and came and hit against the Eurasian plate about 2 to 3 million years ago. And after hitting the Eurasian plate, it started lifting it up, creating the Himalayas. So when the Eurasian plate got lifted up by the Indian plate, it's a huge mass of earth. The Eurasian plate got lifted up, and the Himalayas are grown. Himalayas are still growing because the plate activity, the plate tectonic events are taking place even today. As we are sitting here today, earthquakes are occurring of variety of intensities. 1 on the Richter scale, 2 on the Richter scale, 7 on the Richter scale, 8 on the Richter scale, like this. So the intensities may differ, but the activity is going on. This is called the plate tectonic event creating the dynamic Himalayas. It's very important to understand this phenomenon because it has got a complete control, structural control over the flow of rivers, the formation of mountains, the formation of terrain, and the lives of the people. The airflow, the monsoon, everything gets affected because of this sheer height of the Himalayan ranges. It's a very dominant geophysical, geological presence in Bharatam, which makes the country absolutely unique. Adi Raja. There is another story which is a little recent. About 18,000 years ago, Earth was in an ice age. Virtually the entire northern part of Asia was covered with ice. Northern part of the North American continent was covered in ice. The Arctics were found, Arctics. So Europe was not livable, not usable as a natural resource of the earth until about 10,000 years ago. When an era called the Young Dryas occurred, 24 feet of ice was formed. But thanks to the Himalayas, India was not affected by the ice age. That shielded the Indian subcontinent from the flow of the ice age. So ice was not formed in the country, it was left alluvial, land could continuously be cultivated. So people within the country, within India, were able to do their agricultural activities without being impacted by the ice age. Then let us come a little closer to time. So about 6,000 years ago, 4th millennium before Common Era, the plate tectonic event occurred, which tore up the Shivalik ranges. You see the gap that's created was called the Yamuna fault. So near Paonta Sahib in Himachal Pradesh, in Dehradun, very close to Dehradun, a gap was formed in the Shivaliks. So Yamuna, which was earlier flowing westwards and joining Saraswati through Markanda, used this gap and started flowing eastwards. Get the idea? So plate tectonic event created a gap in the Shivalik ranges, and Yamuna, which was flowing westwards, used this gap to flow eastwards, southward eastwards, instead of flowing westwards. So this was the migration of river Saraswati, which was a tributary of Saraswati, eastwards. And Yamuna became a tributary of Ganga. Yamuna joins Ganga, carrying the Saraswati waters, creating the Triveni Sangamam in Prayag. Yamuna joins Ganga. This is one event. That's a very important event. Then a second event occurred. About 2000 before Common Era. That's about 4,000 years ago. Again, another tectonic event created another rupture in the Shivalik ranges called the Sutlej fault, Sutlej gap. The Sutlej River, which was flowing southwards, got deflected westwards by a 90-degree turn at a canyon that arose in a place called Roper. So the Sutlej went westwards. A Sutlej River flowing from the Manasarovar glacier, flowing into Saraswati as a tributary, abandoned Saraswati, migrated westwards to join Sindhu. 4000 BC, Yamuna joined Ganga eastwards. 2000 BC, Sutlej joined Indus westwards. So these two migratory events caused by the plate tectonics resulted in the depletion of waters, glacial waters for river Saraswati. So river Saraswati became a river dependent upon monsoon. It became a monsoon-based river, which flowed as Gaggar. That a river like this existed 4,000 years ago is very clear. You can see from a map, an 1881 map in a French encyclopedia, it clearly shows Saraswati flowing along with the Gaggar. Another map, an 1862 map showing a river called Saraswati, another name for Saraswati, and the Gaggar flowing together. Sirhind, Batenda, Samana, Panipat. Then there is a 1760 map, shows Sursati, another name for Saraswati, as a tributary of the Gaggar. So the river was a reality, right until 3000 years ago. 1760 map, 500 years ago. Even today we can see the shrines of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati in Patan in Gujarat. There is a Sahasralinga, where remains of the water are gathered together into a reservoir and allowed to flow as a channel called the Little Saraswati. It flows as Little Saraswati from the reservoir. The Sahasralinga system is a way of managing the water in situations where monsoons would be varying intensity. But the Saraswati and the Sindhu rivers, right from the 8th millennium before Common Era, that is 10,000 years ago to about 4,000 years ago, number of people were settled there, thousands of people in each settlement, as can be seen from this map. They are all along the skirting the Thar Desert. Aravalli ranges are there, but along the river bank, there are people. And this river was a navigable river. People could get out a boat and navigate from Rakigadi down to Dholavira and into Persian Gulf, go through Tigris Euphrates, through the Persian Gulf to Tigris Euphrates in ancient Mesopotamia. So the roots of the civilization have to be traced to 8th millennium before Common Era. This was a time when a writing system evolved of continuing the metaphors. They created written metaphors. Here is a dancing girl made in Mohenjo-daro in copper and bronze, and on a potsherd, the same dancing pose is shown. A dancing pose is a mettu, and mettu indicated med, iron, medeth. So this is a map drawn by Dr. B.R. Mani, showing the settlements, ancient settlements from 8th millennium to 4th millennium before Common Era in the Indian subcontinent. The river that we saw from the French encyclopedia with a little more detail. Then Professor Valdia has tried to reconstruct how Saraswati was an independent river system flowing parallel to river Sindhu with a number of streams joining the river Saraswati. The streams of Dashatvati, Som Nadi, Yamuna, Satadru, and joining with Gagar, going down to Hakra, Nara, right into Ran of Kutch. So the dotted line shows how the Yamuna deflected eastwards, abandoning Saraswati, and flowed eastwards to join the Ganga to create Prayagraj near Allahabad. So there is an explanation for the Triveni Sangamam in geological terms. Yamuna, because of the tectonic fault created in the Shivalik ranges, called the Yamuna Tear near Paonta Sahib, migrated eastwards, carrying the Saraswati waters and joining Ganga. So when our grandmothers say that Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati meet in Saraswati and we celebrate the festival every 12 years, in a Kumbh Mela, in a metaphor of Kumbh Mela, we are remembering this geological event. Look at the satellite image taken by Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, which shows clearly the flow of the river Saraswati and the flow of the river Yamuna through the Yamuna Tear, indicating the hydrological flow system of northern Bharat. So the important point we have got to clearly understand on the story of this river Saraswati and the abandonment of the river Saraswati and the hydrological changes that have taken place in the channels of river Saraswati. The one critical point, the key point to remember is that this was a navigable river during the heydays of the Sarasvati-Sindhu civilization. It was possible for a boatman from Rakigadi to travel through Kalibangan, Dholavira, Persian Gulf, Tigris Euphrates to go into ancient Near East. It was possible. It was a navigable river. Just as Brahmaputra was a navigable river, Ganga was a navigable river. Even today it is. Yamuna is a navigable river. Even today it is. Navigability is the key point to remember. So look at the other Himalayan river systems, the Brahmaputra, the Ganga, the Yamuna. We must remember that activity was not restricted to the Saraswati River Valley. People moved towards the Brahmaputra. I will show you evidence of that. And settled down there because there was available tin, lead was available. Vanga, Bengal means lead and tin. And the eastern part of the Southeast Asia is the world's largest tin belt. formed by the Himalayan rivers. You know the Himalayan rivers? So it's important to note the navigability of the rivers. It has got a very great impact on the creation of an ancient maritime tin route. As we saw earlier, Saraswati was navigable, Ganga was navigable, Yamuna was navigable, Brahmaputra was navigable, Mekong was navigable, Iravathi, Salween were navigable. These great Himalayan rivers were transport systems. In the Rig Veda, there is a reference to Rishi Gautama Rahugana, who moves from Kurukshetra to Karatoya river, Sadanira it's called. It is in Bangladesh today, where there are archaeological sites of Mastanagar and Bogra. And it is very close to Tamralipti, which is a Bronze Age archaeological site. So these river systems carried the minerals, ores, food products, cotton, textiles, silk, and other valuable goods like wood, forest woods, like herbals, from one place to another. So this created an enormous community among people across distances. That explains why we find the largest Vishnu Mandiram in the world in Angkor Wat, not in India, in Cambodia. How did it happen? Because these cultural values were absorbed as people moved from one place to another. Today, the University of Hawaii people have conclusively proven that the Mon Khmer languages spoken in Vietnam, originated from Munda, Santali, from Santhal Parganas. That has been proved. So that means there was a unity of languages. So it was possible for a person from Vietnam, Hanoi, or Bangkok, Thailand, to communicate with a person in India and also with a person in Haifa, Israel, or any place in Europe. So we must go through a series of maps to understand this situation. I have taken a number of maps from Charles Schwartzberg, University of Chicago Atlas, which gives the flow of these rivers with absolute clarity. So this is Brahmaputra Mekong. Take a look at it. It's phenomenal. You know this Brahmaputra river at a place called Manas. The width of the river is 10 kilometers. Can you believe that? 10 kilometers wide. Recently, Government of India built a 13-kilometer long bridge to reach Manas across Brahmaputra. Saraswati was 20 kilometers wide in a place called Satrana, 50 kilometers south of Patiala. So these are gigantic river systems created by the Himalayan glacial waters. The Brahmaputra Mekong. So this is the map of Panchana, 5 rivers. This gives rise to the name Punjab. Ab means water. Five waters. 5 rivers plus Sindhu plus Saraswati make it 7 rivers. Sapta Sindhavaha mentioned in the Rig Veda. Sapta Sindhavaha. They are the roots of the Sarasvati-Sindhu Hindu civilization. 7 rivers. Saraswati, Sindhu plus Panchanada, 5 rivers. What are the 5 rivers? Sutudri, Sutlej, Vipas, Bias, Purushni, Ravi, Asikni, Vitasta, Chenab. These are the 5 rivers that constitute the Panchanada. And this is where most of the Rigvedic activity is in this area. The Battle of 10 Kings takes place in this region. Harappa is called Hariyupiya in Rigveda. Now, a fantastic thing has happened. With the brilliant work of our satellite experts, Indian Space Research Organization ISRO, Regional Remote Sensing Service Center Jodhpur, has developed a fantastic map of the great river Saraswati during its full flow as a navigable river. The paleo-drainage of the system was averaging 4 to 10 kilometers wide channels. It flowed from the Himalayas down to Gujarat. This map has been drawn with such precision. It adorns the office of the Prime Minister today, which can be shown to the diplomats as the contribution made by our space scientists in understanding our heritage and history. These waters will come alive very soon. So the river map, the people's map, the physiography of India showing the alluvial soil regions, the green, the Himalayan ranges, the Deccan Plateau, the Sahyadri mountain ranges, which are orange yellow, then the Sri Lanka. The terrain in South Asia, as I mentioned, is an absolute plain below the Himalayan foothills where you can walk without stepping on a piece of rock, which gives rise to plentiful alluvial soil and farming for a variety of crops and cereals. The climate systems are regulated by the Himalayan ranges, the northern monsoon, southeast monsoon, northeast monsoon, which are a regular feature. Sometimes the monsoons fail, they recur every few years, but the savior is our Himalayas, which is a mountain of water, which is a reservoir which can feed 250 crore people with its glacial waters, perennial waters. They will not vanish for the next tens of thousands of years. So there was a trade network that was created by seafaring Meluha merchants using these waters of the Persian Gulf and the riverine flows, and this was the area called Meluha, Mlecha. The Landsat image shows the image of the river Sarasvati as a paleo-channel. At a place called Anupgarh in Binjore, Rajasthan, a Eknakunda has been found by students of the Archaeological Survey of India Institute, led by Sanjay Manjul. And that Eknakunda is remarkable because it has also produced an Astasri Yupa, which has got a cultural significance in the formation of the Adhyatmaka systems of our country, formation of Shivalinga. There is an ancient maritime trade map drawn by Panikar, which shows the eastern trade routes. We will be seeing the western trade routes again and again. So the Sarasvati-Sindhu civilization created a rating system. It also had a cultural framework of Ganesha, Makara, Kirtimukha. It continued into the punchmarked coins, cast coins, Tirthasthanas, Pariyatras, initiated by Balarama along the river Saraswati. We will talk about the cultural traditions of Dharma, Atman as a life principle, yoga and worship. We will talk about the contributions of the formation of gold standard and dawn of the financial system of the nations. We will talk about Varaha Carnelian ring found at Keradi and the link with Varaha of Khajuraho. Take a look at this cultural image from Angkor Wat, Bhima and Duryodhana Gada Yuddha, watched by Pandavas and Sri Krishna. So the riverine waterways of Saraswati civilization, exemplified by Mohastanagar and Karatoya, Sadhanara River, has a place called Bogara, which is an engraving chisel of a blacksmith, metal shilpi of Vedic times, Ayaskara, Bogara. This links the Saraswati civilization to the ancient Far East. We will see that in the next topic. More details related to trade activities, geography, polity, and wealth of nations. Thank you very much.